Summer heat is here, and if you are making even one of these 7 mistakes with your lawn right now, you are quietly killing it without even knowing it. Most homeowners are doing at least 3 of these things every single season, and then they wonder why their grass looks like a burned-out wasteland by August. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what to stop doing and what to do instead, so your lawn actually survives the heat and comes out on the other side looking better than your neighbor's. If you want a lawn that holds up when every other yard on the street is turning brown and crispy, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit that like button, because we drop lawn care content that actually works when the conditions get tough. Here is one of the biggest mistakes homeowners make every single summer, and it comes from good intentions. You look at your struggling lawn, you think it needs a boost, so you grab a bag of fertilizer and throw it down. That is one of the worst things you can do when temperatures are pushing above 85 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Fertilizer, especially anything high in nitrogen, pushes the grass to grow fast and produce new leaf tissue. That sounds like a good thing, but during extreme heat that new growth is extremely tender and it burns fast. The grass is already under enormous stress trying to manage its water intake, cool its root system, and just survive day to day. Adding fertilizer on top of that is like asking someone who is already running a marathon to sprint. The result is fertilizer burn, which shows up as yellowed, streaky, or completely scorched patches across your lawn, and those patches do not recover quickly. In some cases, you are looking at dead spots that take the entire fall season to fill back in. The rule is simple. If your daytime temperatures are consistently above 85 degrees, put the fertilizer bag away. Wait until temperatures drop back to a safer range in late summer or early fall, and then apply a fall fertilizer that is specifically designed to strengthen roots rather than push leaf growth. That is the move that actually pays off long term. If you are subscribed to this channel, you already know we cover fertilizer timing in detail throughout the season. And if you are not subscribed yet, hit that button right now, because the fertilizer schedule we cover over the coming weeks could save you from a lot of expensive damage. This chapter is actually 2 mistakes rolled into one, because they are connected, and a huge number of homeowners fall into one of these 2 traps every summer. The first trap is overwatering. People see their lawn looking stressed, and they assume it needs more water, so they start watering every single day or even twice a day. What this actually does is keep the soil surface constantly saturated, which creates the perfect environment for fungal disease to take hold. Lawn diseases like brown patch and dollar spot absolutely thrive when there is constant moisture combined with high heat. And once a fungal infection spreads through a lawn, it is a much bigger problem to solve than simple heat stress. Grass roots also become shallow when the soil is always wet, because the roots have no reason to grow deep looking for water. The second trap is underwatering, because some people swing to the opposite extreme and think their grass can just tough it out. During an actual heat wave, cool season grasses like Kentucky bluegrass and tall fescue genuinely need water, or they will enter dormancy, or, in severe cases, die completely. The correct approach is deep and infrequent watering. You want to give the lawn about 1 to 1.5 inches of water per week, ideally in 1 or 2 sessions rather than a little bit every day. Water deeply so the moisture reaches 6 to 8 inches into the soil, which encourages roots to follow the water downward. Deep roots are what protect a lawn during a heat wave. And the most important detail here is timing. You should be watering in the early morning, ideally between 5 and 9 in the morning. At that time, the temperatures are lower, the wind is calmer, and the water has time to soak into the soil before the midday heat drives evaporation through the roof. Watering in the middle of the afternoon wastes a significant portion of the water before it ever reaches the root zone. This is one of the most common mistakes on this entire list, and it damages more lawns every summer than most people realize. When it is hot outside, cutting your grass too short is genuinely one of the most harmful things you can do. The reason comes down to basic plant biology. Grass blades are not just there to look green, they are the solar panels of the plant, capturing sunlight to produce energy. But more importantly, during summer, the grass canopy shades the soil underneath it. That shade keeps the soil cooler, slows down moisture evaporation, and protects the root system from direct sun exposure. When you cut the grass too short, you strip away that canopy. The soil is suddenly exposed to full sun all day long. Soil temperature spikes, moisture evaporates at a much faster rate, and the root system, which is already under heat stress, now has to deal with a much hotter, drier environment. The general rule most turf specialists agree on is to never remove more than 1/3 of the grass blade in a single mowing. During peak summer heat, you want to raise your mowing deck to its highest or second highest setting. For most cool season grasses, that means keeping the height at around 3.5 to 4 inches. Warm season grasses like Bermuda and zoysia can be kept a bit shorter, but even those should not be scalped during a heat wave. The taller the grass, the better it handles heat. It is that straightforward. If your lawn has gotten a bit long because you skipped a mowing, resist the urge to cut it all down at once. Set your deck high. Cut, wait a few days, then cut again if needed. Gradual reduction is always safer than scalping. This one connects directly to the last chapter, but it deserves its own spot on this list, because the timing of when you mow matters just as much as how short you cut. Mowing your lawn in the middle of the day during a heat wave puts the grass through a double layer of stress. First, the actual act of mowing causes physical damage to the grass blades. Every cut is technically a wound to the plant, and in ideal conditions the grass seals those cuts and recovers within a day or two. But when you are mowing at noon in 95-degree heat, the grass is already using nearly all of its available energy just to regulate its temperature and maintain hydration. It has very little left over to deal with the stress of being cut. Recovery time slows dramatically. The freshly cut grass blades are also more exposed right after mowing, and direct afternoon sun hits those open cuts hard. You can end up with tips that brown out and die because the plant simply could not manage the stress load. On top of that, mowing on hot compacted soil puts more pressure on the root system. If you have a riding mower, or even a heavy walk behind, the weight compresses dry, stressed soil and can damage grass that is already on the edge. The better approach is to mow in the early morning or in the evening after the worst of the heat has passed. Evening mowing is fine as long as there is still enough time for any clippings to dry before nightfall, because wet clippings sitting on the lawn overnight can also contribute to disease pressure. Most people never think about soil compaction at all, and that oversight costs them every single summer. Compacted soil is one of the hidden reasons that lawns struggle so badly in summer heat, and it is a problem that builds up gradually until one hot summer completely exposes it. When soil is compacted, the particles are pressed tightly together, leaving very little space for air, water, and nutrients to move through. Grass roots need all three of those things to survive, and during a heat wave when the grass is already under stress, compacted soil essentially cuts off the supply line. Water hits the surface and runs off instead of soaking in. Air cannot circulate around the roots, and the roots themselves physically cannot push through dense, hard soil to reach deeper, cooler moisture. The result is a lawn that looks like it is dying of thirst even when you water it, because the water is not actually getting to where the roots need it. The fix for this is aeration, and the ideal time to aerate cool season lawns is in early fall, not during the summer. But if you are reading your lawn right now and you see water pooling on the surface during irrigation instead of soaking in, that is a sign that compaction is actively making things worse this season. You can do some light aeration with a manual aerator even during summer if you are careful about it, but the more important thing is to recognize the problem and commit to a proper fall aeration schedule so your lawn goes into next summer with better soil structure. Core aeration, where actual plugs of soil are pulled out, is far more effective than spike aeration, which actually makes compaction worse by pushing soil to the side rather than removing it. If you have weeds in your lawn right now, and you are tempted to grab a bottle of weed killer and spray everything down, this chapter is specifically for you. Spraying herbicides when air temperatures are above 85 to 90 degrees is a reliable way to make your weed problem look like a minor inconvenience compared to the grass damage you are about to cause. Here is what happens. Heat makes many herbicide formulations much more volatile and chemically aggressive. What is labeled as a safe rate at 70 degrees can behave like a much stronger concentration when temperatures are pushing toward 90 or 95. The herbicide becomes more likely to drift onto desirable plants. It is more likely to absorb through the grass canopy and reach the root zone rather than just staying on the weed leaves where you aimed it. Post-emergent herbicides that are designed to kill broadleaf weeds are particularly risky in heat because they can cause significant yellowing and thinning in the surrounding turf, which is already struggling to hold itself together. The grass plants are operating under elevated stress, and their ability to filter out or metabolize herbicide chemicals is significantly reduced. The practical advice here is to wait. If the weeds are present but the lawn is surviving, hold off on spraying until a stretch of cooler weather arrives, ideally when daytime highs are below 85 degrees. Target the late evening for any absolutely necessary herbicide applications, allow the product to work overnight, and water lightly in the morning if irrigation is needed. Spot treating individual weeds is always safer during heat than broadcasting across the entire lawn. This last one is something most people overlook entirely because it does not seem that serious on the surface. But heavy or repeated foot traffic on drought-stressed or heat-stressed grass causes compaction and physical damage to the grass crowns that the lawn simply cannot recover from while the stress continues. The crown of a grass plant is the part located right at the soil surface where the blades emerge. It is the most critical part of the plant for survival and regrowth. When grass is well watered and healthy, the crowns are somewhat resilient. When the grass is dehydrated and stressed by heat, those crowns become brittle and vulnerable. Repeated walking, kids running, lawn furniture sitting in the same spots, or parking anything on the grass during a heat wave can physically crush and kill those crowns. And unlike a blade of grass that grows back, a dead crown means that individual plant is gone. You are then left with bare spots that are wide open for weeds to colonize once the heat breaks. This does not mean you have to rope off your backyard all summer. It means you should be conscious of creating foot traffic patterns. Move your furniture around occasionally. Try to alternate the paths people take across the lawn. And if you have an area that is particularly prone to traffic, consider whether there is a hardscape solution, like a stepping stone path, that would take the pressure off the grass permanently. Grass can handle some traffic. Grass under heat stress cannot handle what it normally could. Those are the 7 things you absolutely need to stop doing to your lawn this summer if you want it to come out the other side looking the way you actually want it to look. Heat is the real test of whether your lawn care habits are working or working against you. Everything we covered here, from fertilizer timing to mowing height to herbicide windows, comes down to the same principle. During extreme heat, the grass is already working overtime just to stay alive. And every extra stress you add is another thing it has to fight through. The lawns that win in summer are the ones whose owners understand that less intervention at the right moments is actually the most powerful thing you can do. If this video gave you something useful, hit the like and subscribe button right now, because it genuinely helps more people find this content before they make one of these mistakes on their own lawn.